In 2022, we witnessed some incredible racing with just one class, the Porsche Mission Rs, on the track. So we ask ourselves, why don't we spice things up? And that's exactly what EMSA did. For the first time, there will be two classes of cars on track. First is going to be the Porsche Mission R that we've been used to with the eWorld and the Street Course or Triple Crown. But now we're going to throw in the BMW LMDH with the top class honors. And over the next 36 weeks, we will see these two cars do battle over some of the greatest road courses in the world, along with a few tracks that are well known in the endurance racing community. Then later in the year, we're going to have some eRoval once again, along with the Street Course Triple Crown that we did in December. Either way, we'll be watching with excitement as we welcome you to the EMSA Service Experts eWorld Tour with Bryan, Sawyer in the production truck and Cody Erdmann alongside me in the commentary box. I am Josh Mertz as we are live from the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada on the Automotive Sports Network, as our coverage and series are both brought to you by Service Experts HVAC. Get worry-free comfort at one low monthly payment. For more information, visit serviceexperts.com. Cody, a little bit low on car count, but 2 drop weeks for these guys, so the guys that are here get an extra test session, realistically, before the season kind of begins proper.
Yeah, glad to be back here with EMSA and Service Experts. We're a little bit low on car count. I think that's expected, like we were talking a little bit before with iRacing's Daytona 24. Kind of a lot of people have run that this weekend. I myself as well. So, and I did actually run the BMW LMDH, so I kind of have a little bit of a background with it now after running a little over 200 laps around Daytona with it. So, should be an interesting race. There's about 10-second difference here at Montreal between the prototype and the Porsche Mission R. So, just see probably a little bit of overtaking with the mixed class.
As I have a long script of who to watch and who to keep an eye on, and Paul Crone, defending eRoval champion Jeff Mathis, won the Street Course Triple Crown in December, but they are both not here. So as we can take a look, Nicholas Isidro and Aaron Totten will be duking it out in the LMDH class for top honors there, and they were pretty much within 1/10 of a second between each other, as we have the other 5 cars in the Porsche Mission R. We want to welcome a new partner of the Automotive Sports Network. We have NordVPN along for the ride in 2023. As the ultimate solution for online privacy and security, with NordVPN, you can surf the web freely and securely, knowing your personal information, online activity, protected by military-grade encryption. With servers in over 60 countries, NordVPN allows you to access any content you want from anywhere in the world. So Netflix overseas, for example. With no logs policies, you can ensure your online activity will remain private. It's easy to use, simple interface. You can connect to VPNs fairly quickly. And for to 63% off a 2-year plan, visit asntvUSA.com and click on NordVPN on the sidebar. Thank you so much for our friends over there for joining us for this ride, or you can scan that QR code as well. So, first lap times being set here in qualifying. We are on a 15-minute qualifying session. It'll set the grid for that first feature race. 20 minutes. I don't even think the field's going to be inverted. To be perfectly honest, with 2 classes, I'm not too sure. We'll have a 5-minute warm-up, and then we will have that second feature race. So, I've mentioned before, Cody, as we look at Aaron Smith in car number 70, I've mentioned that my first exposure to multi-class racing, as he hits the wall here in turn 2, was the American Le Mans Series in 2012, and there were 2 prototypes. So, interesting, we're going to have 2 prototypes here. So, I'm excited to see what the LMDH is going to do around Montreal.
Yeah, it should be pretty fun battle. Yeah, even though we have just two of them, as you've said in the past, some of our best broadcasts, well, we have 6, 7 cars in total. So, kind of a little bit of a nostalgia trip for us here, but should be interesting. These, honestly, they're just a little bit of a snappier LMP2 would be my best example. Like, especially up off the corners, they don't carry more speed, like maybe 5 or 10 miles an hour faster than the LMP2 that we're all used to here in iRacing for the last about 2 years. But just getting up off the corner, these things have, with that electric motor in them. They get up and go off these corners. So, and especially like Totten just went through at the hairpin, I imagine they're going to get up to almost full speed fairly quickly.
As I suspect Casino Straight into the final chicane. Going to see a couple guys potentially into the wall of champions turn 12 and 13. It has one of the best layouts in all of Grand Prix racing, despite the fact that it looks really simple with some straightaways and some chicanes, but certainly have had some crazy stuff happen throughout the years here in Montreal. We'll be right on board Aaron Totten in that BMW LMDH car number 28, made the jump to the LMDH class along with Nicholas Isidro. And like we mentioned in the opener, we're suspecting some more guys to be here next week. And we will be at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas for round 2 of the EMSA eWorld Tour. Tentatively, I will not be here. We should have Chad Irvine, from those of you that remember the NASA Sports Car Challenge. He potentially will be heading the show, as I will be on vacation in Colorado. But at worst case, I will be here. Hopefully my wife doesn't kill me, but trying to figure it out so I don't get murdered in my sleep, as we're going to go to Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. And this little season that we've got here for the World Tour, it is going to be 15 rounds. Interlagos, Barcelona, Imola, Magny-Cours, Silverstone, Zandvoort, Spa, Hockenheim, A1 Ring, Red Bull Ring for those of you that are newer, Hungaro Ring, Fuji, Mount Panorama. These cars are going to be incredible at Bathurst, especially down the back straightaway into the chase. And realistically in the middle sector on the mountain, but so many different tracks, so much history at those tracks. And it's going to be awesome that we'll be able to be along for the ride for the eWorld Tour. Now, what's interesting with this is there's 4 different championships, like I kind of mentioned in the opener, Cody. We've got the World Tour, the Enduro Triple Crown, the eRoval, and the Street Triple Crown. So it seems a little confusing that you have 4 different seasons. You can win a championship in those, but then it's an all-encompassing World Championship for EMSA. So very ambitious plans for this series in 2023.
Yeah, they're looking to pretty much cover every kind of road course we can think of. From just kind of every road course in the world, 2 or 3 major endurance races. Or at least those circuits, but not just endurance race itself. And then, yeah, the Rovals is kind of how we started this whole series off, which should be interesting now that we have the LMDH added to the mix. That should be quite interesting, having all the overtaking. So, should be a fun series to watch, and we're looking forward to the twist and turn.
As through the month of June, we are going to be running at Daytona, Nürburgring, and Le Mans. Not sure if we're going to run the Nordschleife for that one, but I'm excited for that one. That one's going to be good if we are. Then we are back to the eRoval series in July through October. Charlotte, Indianapolis, New Hampshire, Auto Club, Vegas, Iowa, so many different tracks that we had ran before. And Cody, looking at this eRoval schedule, The Rock, Las Vegas not so much, but New Hampshire, LMDH, New Hampshire, what?
Oh, that's going to be absolute terrifying. We saw how action-packed it was with just one class. Now we're going to have 2, and another track where you get up off the corners really quickly. So, and with, like, as we've seen with these LMDHs, they'll instantly be at 150 miles an hour in just a short little bit. So it's going to be, the LMDH drivers are going to really have to be on their toes on how quick they're going to get up off the corner compared to the Porsche Missionars.
As we were kind of riding on board with Aaron Totten here in the 28, as we also have a fun little experiment that we're doing with a second camera angle. So let's see if we can ride on board with one of the Mission Rs as we ride on board with Totten. And we take a look. Looks like we're on board on the same car, but at least we can show off that it works, as we've been working hard to getting things working here on the Automotive Sports Network to make sure that it looks relatively okay. as a little bit of a discrepancy on the LMDH times. It's about a second, 1.3 seconds between the two, and it's about it's 1.7 seconds between the two Missionars up front. So might see a little bit of field spread here. So this will be interesting as we look right now at Dylan Thomas, series founder, in the 00. As Totten's in the pit lane, Martin Mathis exits the hairpin. And just 2 cars on track right now from what I can see. As let's see if we can ride on board Dylan on this split screen here and take a look on our main feed from a track camera. As Dylan Thomas has not run a lap yet, it looks like, or he has 1 minute 33.959. So he's a second down on Johansson in car number 27. So Isidro, 1 minute 25.953. Totten, a 1 minute 27.245. Totten's on track again, so we'll just have to wait and see if he is going to be on a hot lap. He's warming up right now in the 28. But only the 2 make it 3 cars on track. So interesting that Isidro's not on track. I'm not sure if he is.
As we just watched Dylan there almost go into the Wall of Champions as we were talking.
One car that has not set a lap, Broderick Johnson in the 82. So we're going to wait and see. A little bit to a slower start to our show this evening, as I'm not really sure where everyone else is on track. I don't even think Isidro's in the session. He's just not on track. At least I don't think so, because they didn't split it up. And Totten loops it in the 28. He's trying to find all the time he can, but 0.3 seconds, still a long time to make up.
Yeah, as they've stepped weight, I believe faster times. I'm going to quick look at what they were doing in practice. So Aaron's on the same lap time he ran in practice. Nicholas has went a second and a half faster. That's where the difference is.
As just under 45 seconds left to go, so the only car that's really going to be able to complete his lap, Martin Mathis, and we'll see if he makes any improvement on his lap time. So what are your thoughts? What are your predictions coming into this first feature? Do you think it's going to be a duel between these 2 LMDHs? I think that's kind of what we only thing we can hope for. But what are we thinking in the Missionars?
Not 100% sure, to be honest. So I could see the duel going with the LMDHs. Yeah, we only unfortunately do have 2, but I think these 2 are fairly equally matched. I think just Nicholas laid down a very good lap on that lap, so we'll see what they do. Get used to running more laps around here, and then the Porsche Missionars I would say most of them are fairly close on lap time, and I think some people just may be better on having that mouse to chase in front of them, so that may help. So we'll find out here in the first one, and we'll kind of go from there.
As Isidro on track, Totten on track, Johansson and Thomas. So we wait for Martin Mathis. Broderick Johnson's on track. We wait for Mathis. Standing start. for the first feature here in 2023 for EMSA. Shorter field, certainly going to be a good one as we hope. And our starting grid, like we had mentioned, or let me take a look. Isidro, Totten, Smith, Johansson, Thomas, Mathis, and Johnson. We get ready for round one in Montreal. Green flag. I don't think the LMDHs are designed for standing starts. Smith nearly smoked Totten off the line, down to turn one. Single file. Isidro, Totten. Aaron Smith holds the lead over Johansson. Johansson runs it wide. Thomas passes him, drifting through the dirt. Johansson in the 27. No harm done as the LMDHs begin to pull away. Now, what we're going to notice, it's about you said 7 to 10 seconds. Will we see lap traffic of the Missionars come into play? That's going to be the big thing, as if these LMDHs are going to be running their own, minding their own business. So we'll just have to make a note and pay attention. But Isidro pulling away from Totten here on the back straightaway. And Aaron Smith leads in the Missionar class. Inside of Mathis.
Isidro
goes Broderick Johnson. They come together! The two LMDHs! As Isidro tries to get back going again, he's going to have to wait for all the Missionars to go by. Hopefully we can take a look and find a replay. But what happened on the backstretch? Everything that we had talked about, the two LMDHs not crashing into each other.
Yeah, so one thing I did notice when running the Daytona 24, you had to be super careful going on like the first lap or two because it was so icy with these tires.
It looked like he either locked up the brakes or just lost it. Isidro did. And Totten did the same thing. He didn't even make the corner. If we can take another look, not sure if we can.
As we got the replay ready here. Going into the corner and just loops it, and then Totten has nowhere to go. I think he broke the same spot Isidro did, but just kind of drove right into him.
So an interesting start here in Montreal for the first race of the eWorld Tour. And now Totten has a huge advantage over Isidro. Isidro not pitting, but he's going to have to get through these Missionars. Aaron Smith pulling away. He was 3 seconds, granted it was the first lap, but 3 seconds faster than Thomas in the 00. So if you're Totten, I don't know if I would particularly worry. Isidro was faster than you, but he's still got to find his way through this traffic.
Yeah, now Isidro just made it up to Johnson and Thomas.
To the inside, Isidro goes. Will he try and make two cars? Thomas slides and he hits Isidro and loops the 424.
As now Broderick, the one that didn't practice or qualify, is up to P2.
So, let's recap what we have, the cards that we've been dealt in the two-car LMDH class. Aaron Totten leads. Isidro has been ping-ponged from whether it was himself or other drivers. Totten sets fastest lap. So we'll keep an eye on the 424 for Isidro. Looks like he didn't get that much damage on the left rear. Goes to the inside of Broderick. That was close. Totten off in turn 2 or turn 3. So at one thing after another, and these cars, I agree with you, very tricky. As I haven't driven these cars. I drove the Dallara LMP2, and I have a lot of experience in the HPD, the older prototype on the service. But even those cars were tricky. A very narrow operating window, and these guys finding out the hard way.
Yeah, and I would say almost these even have a more narrow operating window. They have that just a little bit more power, so you can almost drive the car off your right foot a little bit sideways, especially in the tighter, like coming out of the hairpin and everything. It'll turn on power, and you can drive it up off the corner sideways. So with that being said, you really got to watch on how much power you're giving it, because otherwise it's going to look. But these cars do have ABS and traction control, but they can still spin out easily.
Johansson locked up on the back straightaway, trying to enter in the turn 8 chicane. And now it's going to be noticing if Isidro can gain all the gap back that he lost, just under 7 seconds from him to Totten, who leads this race. Misses the first apex, nearly into the wall of champions. One car in the pit lane, it's Martin Mathis in car number 14. I'll try and take a look and see what happened. Looks like there's heavy damage on Johansson's car. Maybe he didn't lock up. Maybe he's got a flat tire, it looks like. Right front looks down. Oh, yeah, for sure, flat tire there on the 27. Not sure what could have caused that, though, unless that's what caused it. Martin Mathis looped it and hit car number 27, so 2 cars coming together. With all the racetrack in the world, you would think that these guys wouldn't come together.
As we got it right here. He's just coming through the chicane and just unfortunately loops it right in front of Mathis. Little ping pong effect.
And what's unfortunate with the Mission R is those cars, I don't want to use the word slow, but it's hard to know what direction you're heading because it's just hard to react to it. It's hard to read with the all-wheel drive nature of that car. And as a result, we've had 2 cars damaged or in the pit lane or damaged. Looks like Johansson's back on track, used his fast repair, but Martin Mathis sits in the pit lane. So 5.5 seconds from Totten to Isidro for the race lead. And this is going to be the drive of a century for Isidro to try and catch up to Totten in the 28. Clip the curb there in turn 1. Looks like fastest lap was reset by Isidro, 1 minute 26.922. Totten was a 1:28.7, so nearly 2 seconds faster. Gap is 4.5 seconds now. It's going to be a game or a match of survival. Martin Mathis is back on track in the 14. Aaron Smith sits in the 3rd position overall, leading in the Mission Rs. He has a 6-second gap over Broderick Johnson in the 82. So I'll be focusing on Isidro. Gap is 4 seconds. Totten in the chicane again. Ran it wide, looped it again. No, he didn't loop it. I apologize there, but he was skating on the dirt. And Isidro, goes by Totten. Still have to learn all these liveries and all the new car numbers, but Isidro claws his way back up to the race lead and takes the lead as we close in on halfway here in feature race number 1.
As now let's see if Totten can keep up with Isidro. Getting a little bit of that draft.
I think this is the battle that we've been expecting for the last 8 minutes or so, but you wouldn't think we've been racing for 8 minutes with all the action that we've had. Lap times 1 minute 33.6, 1 minute 27.4. Granted, the off-track excursion for Aaron Totten. As Rallycross does not begin for about another month or so, Aaron. You're getting a little confused. As remember, the NASA Rallycross Challenge returns to the Automotive Sports Network February 27th in Brands Hatch. You'll join myself, Bryan, Sawyer, Philip Cross for that one, as that is going to be a wonderful race in Brands Hatch in Great Britain. It always is. Right on board Totten in the 28. Trying to get the slipstream of Isidro down the back straightaway.
Because Isidro did get a little bit loose coming out of that previous chicane there. And I will say that the slipstream isn't as effective in these cars as it is in the LMP2, so that's one thing I did also learn.
As I noticed that Totten looks like he locked it up on entry. He was able to recover it and make the corner a little bit wider than normal. But gap 1.1 seconds between the two. Totten just staying in the slipstream of Isidro. Isidro weaving down the casino straight into the final chicane. As Martin Mathis off the lead lap. The only car off the lead lap is Aaron Smith. We're trying to find him. He is in the hairpin at one end of the track, and Broderick Johnson in the hairpin as well. As remember, our coverage brought to you by NordVPN. You can get up to 63% off of a 2-year plan. go to asntvUSA.com, click NordVPN on the sidebar. It'll bring you to that. So thank you to our friends at NordVPN for supporting us here on the Automotive Sports Network. Gap is about 1.5 for the race leaders, Isidro v. Totten. And I'm not sure, the gap has really stayed about 6 seconds between Smith and Johnson, with Mathis in the middle in the sandwich here, Cody.
Yeah, I think Broderick has kind of gotten into his groove with no practice or qualifying, so it should be interesting to see him in the next race. See if we'd be able to possibly jump Aaron, and if the rules are still the same as the leaders come up on Dylan Thomas.
Thomas gets past. Totten stay in the slipstream? He will. Now he's going to sneak behind Isidro. Gap is 3/4 of a second. He's gained about 1/4 of a second from the last lap or so. And Totten can smell blood on the 424. But every time you get close, you just peek that window. You go too far in that operating window, and you lock up or spin. That's what we've noticed. So squirrely under braking. Very aggressive was Isidro, trying to maintain this lead. Gap is about 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, as the deep on the brakes is Totten. You really got to watch how deep you do get on them and how hard you get on them, because the back end will step out from underneath you really easily.
Another Missionar in the way. Adrian Johansson stays out of the way of the two race leaders. And we're still not missing anything in the Missionar battle for the lead. Aaron Smith holds a 6-second lead over Broderick Johnson. So we're going to focus on these two prototypes. And once again, they both missed the corner, but Totten fares much worse than Isidro. Isidro was able to stay on the road, but Totten loses about 0.5 second.
Yes. I wonder if they're just struggling to find a good braking point for going into that corner. Because Totten again locked up.
As we just crossed the halfway point, about 8 minutes left in this first feature race. And it's going to be interesting. Would you be using this first feature as another test session, another practice session, really? Because you know that your competition's only one guy. Like, if it was both of us on track, what would be your mindset?
To be honest, yeah, especially if we're keeping the same tiebreaker rule as we were.
Totten loops it in turn one. Nearly. Good save. Sorry, continue.
All good. If we're keeping that, then honestly, whoever wins this next one is the winner, essentially. Like, this race is a practice for these two. Because if it's 1-2 and then 2-1 and 1-2 or 2-1 and then 1-2, it's whoever just has the tiebreaker there. So, in a way, I would just say figure out where you're losing to the next driver or your other competitor, and then just go from there. It's a little bit different between Aaron and Broderick for the Porsche Missionars, because there is a couple other cars in play that could get jumbled up in the mix. So, but for these two, I would just say go kind of use this as a competitive practice and then just go from there.
Looks like gap has increased by about 1 second between Smith and Johnson. Totten probably overcooked his tires in turn one, because I've been keeping an eye on him. He hit the wall on the exit of the hairpin. As we look at Totten, gap is 3.5. Make it almost 4 seconds between the two. As Isidro having some connection issues here. Where did he go? He might have fallen out from the server. As I'm flicking through these cars, and I don't think I see our race leader. So that might have changed everything for Isidro. And what's unfortunate is if you fall out, you're going to have to start from the pit lane. So he's going to have to hope that Totten has more issues. Oh, for hands down, Isidro's gone. He's going to have to come back in.
Yeah, I don't know what's been up with the internet lately.
It's the Twilight Zone. Everyone's having issues. You were having issues. The drivers here are having issues.
Yeah, as it dumped out before, thankfully we went live. Had it yesterday running the Daytona 24 with a couple hours left. It dumped out on me. While running third.
As Totten now in the race lead. And for sure, Isidro now gets passed by Aaron Smith for second overall. So Isidro falls, so he will have to come back in. And this might seal his first feature race, but like you had mentioned, it realistically doesn't matter with the overall. It's just a matter of who wins that second feature. As we mentioned about everyone getting lapped, and Aaron Smith's about half a lap away from getting lapped from the prototype just to the speed difference. But I'm noticing a lot of connection issues. I don't know if it's me or if it's iRacing. Is there another 24 split happening? Is the question.
No. The last 24 split ended roughly...
Oh, nearly between Mathis and Totten through turn 4. We saw in Formula 1, Lance Stroll and Brendan Hartley in 2018 come together in that corner. We nearly had the same thing here. That was close.
Yeah, no, the last 24 split ended about 10 hours ago, so we should be good there.
As just flicking through the field, Dylan Thomas has looped it in turn 1. Totten once again locks it up in the hairpin. And Isidro reconnected, but he has not got back on track. So really just going to call it in the last couple of minutes here of this first feature. As I don't know why exactly you would. I would probably take the extra practice if I was him. But I also get it that you're frustrated and upset that you were in a leading position only to have some issues in the 424.
Broderick sliding it through the first couple corners.
And Aaron Smith has a 9.5 second lead over Broderick Johnson as Aaron enters into turn number 6 and Broderick in turn number 5 right now. So a decent gap between those two. And Totten flying in the 28. If we can specifically ride on board the nose camera of car number 28, let's take a ride for a little bit in this LMDH around the Montreal circuit. As we ride on board the LMDH, the BMW LMDH of Aaron Totten. And there's just something about the nose camera that makes it seem like it's so much faster. Certainly an exciting car on such a very tricky track. And like we mentioned in the opener, as Totten scrapes the wall, you wouldn't think that a track map that looks so simple would be so hard. But the heavy braking zones always catch people out. And if you look at the box score, you say, everyone's off the lead lap. What the hell am I looking at? As Aaron Totten laps second overall Aaron Smith. But remember, Isidro had some connection issues, so we will not be seeing a battle for the overall lead. And it's 12 seconds from Aaron Smith to Broderick Johnson in the Porsche Mission R class. we should be getting the white flag here in Montreal. We'll see if the flagger throws it. He does not, so we'll just have to wait and see. As we do take the white flag, I apologize there, in this first feature race here in Montreal. As Dylan Thomas stays out of the way of Totten. And it was pretty hectic first race despite only having these 7 cars. We had some thrills and spills, but Aaron Totten half a lap away from winning this first race. As we have yet that second feature after this warm-up break. Cody, we'll have a chat with Dylan Thomas, the series founder, here in a couple minutes, just to see what he thinks about the split class and the scheduling. As granted, 2 drop weeks will help to see if the car count will increase, but I'm not. I'm hopeful, but I can't help but wonder maybe it was started a little bit too soon, especially with the Daytona 24, like we talked about, and with playoff football happening currently.
Yeah, that's especially big here in the States. So fortunately, everyone's eyes and time is put into that. And yeah, Daytona 24. Some people put almost 36 hours in it if you start on the first split and make it to, unfortunately, wreck out and you end up on the last split. So some people are kind of burnt out from running iRacing. As Totten takes the checkered flag here and the victory.
As Aaron Smith will come home in second overall. He wins in the Porsche Mission Rs. Roderick Johnson in third overall. Johansson, Thomas, Mathis, and Isidro. Isidro, the only car not to finish this race due to those connection issues that he had earlier on. As we take a look, well, we tried once our graphic decides to work. Welcome. It's growing pains here on ASN. We're trying our brand new fancy graphics package, and it just doesn't want to work. So it's not our fault. The computing issue, yeah, that doesn't work either. So we'll have a chat with Dylan Thomas here. I'll bring him in. And Cody, let's see. As we brought in Dylan Thomas, Cody, all yours.
Hey there, Dylan. You got us?
Hey, what's up, Cody? How you doing?
Well, so we got race 1 done here race 1 of our first round of the new season, new series. How are you thinking on so far how this is going with the 2 cars, the multi-class now, and having not a Roval or a street circuit?
Yeah, I'm really excited to take these cars to some more Grand Prix tracks around the world. That was kind of our idea. And then with the new edition of the LMDH, we're hoping to bring some of the hype from that car into the series. We did have quite a bit of interest before the season started, but I think there was just a busy week with the Daytona 24, and I had a couple DMs for some personal stuff going on. So I know next week and beyond, we're hoping to keep growing and have more out here. And I think it'll be fun, little multi-class series out here.
Yeah, as I personally ran the LMDH at Daytona 24, so I know how much fun the car is. It's a blast to drive, super fast. It's like it was tiring actually to run the 24 in it. So really excited to see that, and kind of on all different variety of circuits. When we were talking about when we go back to the Roval and putting these cars with the Porsche Mission Rs and how chaotic that's going to be.
Yeah, that was I wouldn't say that was the mission to make it chaotic, but it's definitely the vision. Just having a couple different styles cars out here, just like a real world EMSA. I think it's kind of cool. Brings some more interest in the series, hopefully, with the I think there's a little bit higher interest in the LMDH area than there is the Porsche Mission R in the official series. So we're hoping to draw from that here going into the future.
For sure. Is Josh, you got anything for him?
Once my mic decides to work, I I'm curious to know your thoughts on the whole World Championship aspect, because we talked about in the Open, we have the World Tour, we've got the eRoval, we've got the Enduro Triple Crown, and we've got the Street Circuit Triple Crown. So, what are your thoughts, like, on that full year plan of the EMSA World Championship?
Yeah, I was really excited to bring that idea coming in. I was actually inspired. I'm a big Supercross motocross fan, so I'm inspired from their move this year where they combined the series to make a one big championship out of two series. And after talking to Broderick and a couple of guys in the league, we decided just try that on our own with doing 4 different series at 4 different types of disciplines, and I don't know, just see where we all end up at the end of the year.
I like it. Well, my friend, we'll let you go. Anyone you'd like to thank so far throughout this, halfway through this first evening in EMSA in 2023?
First and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone that came out tonight. I know it was kind of a hectic weekend for a lot of iRacers, so I really appreciate them coming out. We could use this as a pretty decent little test session to make sure how this actually is going to work going forward. We need to make tweaks going forward. But yeah, everyone in the league that has been and will be in the league, I'd like to thank you guys in the booth. I love you guys. Really appreciate you guys doing what you're doing, and of course, Service Experts for providing this coverage for us.
Absolutely. Well, my friend, we'll let you go, and good luck in that second feature.
Yes, sir.
As remember, our coverage this evening brought to you by NordVPN, the ultimate solution for online privacy and security. With NordVPN, you can surf the web freely and securely, knowing that your personal information and online activity are protected by military-grade encryption. You'll have servers across 60 countries, so you can watch Netflix in whatever country you want, despite the fact that you're sitting in the United States. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you're somewhere else. No logs policy, which is nice. You will have private online activity. You'll have an easy-to-use interface, so you can connect to VPNs whenever and wherever you'd like, and you can browse, stream, and download with complete peace of mind. For up to 63% off a 2-year plan, visit asnTVUSA.com and click on NordVPN on the sidebar to sign up and have more information. So, Cody, this second feature race, we had some craziness on the first lap of the first one. Do you think Isidro's going to try and pass Totten here relatively quickly?
Yeah, because have you looked at the grid?
I have not.
Isidro's on the front and Totten's at the back. Totten's going to drive through the entire Porsche Mission R field.
Oh. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm finding that. That's going to be interesting to see. Okay. Oh, you're right. So, our LMDHs are split by the entire Porsche Mission R field. And Aaron Totten's going to have to survive this traffic. Okay.
Honestly, I kind of wish that Isidro didn't fall out, because this would be really entertaining to watch them have to drive through the beginning part of the field.
That's going to be a good one.
Because, trust me, I unfortunately had to do that in an EMSA race earlier this week where I got turned on the turn 1 and had to drive through the entire GT3 field on lap 1 at Daytona, and it's absolutely terrifying. So I kind of know what Totten is feeling right now.
As our series and coverage are also brought to you by Service Experts HVAC. Get worry-free comfort at one low monthly payment. For more info, visit serviceexperts.com. I want to give a shout out to those guys as well. We get ready for the green flag in Montreal, Canada. Green flag in Montreal. Aaron Smith got a great jump off the line. Terrible start for Isidro in the LMDH. The Mission R's are going to swallow him up, and Totten spins off the line in the 28. Crab walking, huge damage. One car wide, it's Thomas into Martin Mathis. I'll try and take a look off monitor to see what had happened to Totten here in a minute, but Thomas and Mathis side by side for the Mission R lead. Isidro looks like he's going to be uncontested for this race win. Mathis, Smith, side by side through turns 3 and 4, and into turn 5. Mathis gets passed by Johansson, and Totten immediately toes back to the pit lane. What happened to Totten off the line? Cody, I think he just looped it.
Yes, we got the onboard here. Just kind of nice, easy launch going.
First gear, wheel spin,
First gear,
done.
second, and then once he gets second, once it revs up, it just spins right around. Unfortunately, just backs it right into the wall. So just as we saw, I think that's probably why Isidro was so soft on the throttle going. I think he might have felt that in the first race.
Isidro looped it again, did the same exact thing that he did in the first feature in the hairpin. Not that he really has to worry. He's pretty much uncontested. And it's unfortunate that we talked up that battle and it ended 3 feet from the start-finish line. But Isidro deep on the brakes as well. We're looking at Aaron Smith looking to the outside of Dylan Thomas. Into the final chicane. Very slow. Can't make it happen. Thomas slow off the chicane. Smith to the inside. Make it the outside now. And Aaron Smith back to the race lead in the 70. Will Thomas do an over-under through turn 1? He does not. Deep on the brakes in the 0-0.
Dylan's putting up a really good fight right now. Aaron gives a little bit of a better run up off the corner.
As we'll focus on the Mission R's throughout this race, as Aaron Totten still sits in the pit lane, towing back after that crash off the start. So the biggest thing here is we might see a Mission R win overall if Isidro has some more connection issues, so that would be a big worry for him in the 424. But the LMDH proving that it's no slouch. It's such a hard car to get right. And I'm excited to see when we get a bigger field. Hopefully we don't see a whole field crash like that happen, but maybe, as much as I like standing starts, maybe a standing start in this car is not the best of ideas.
Or it's just, you gotta learn how to do a standing start. Honestly, now that I think about it, I don't use any actually iRacing official classes that even do standing start with any of the GT stuff like that, so I don't think just a lot of people are used to it.
The only thing that would do a standing start is, realistically, Grand Prix cars. Formula 1, Formula 2, all of those. Sports cars haven't done a Le Mans-style start since the 60s, 70s maybe, at the worst. So they've done rolling starts forever. So potentially, maybe we'll see that. But Totten's back on track in the 28, but unfortunately, he has a lap down, and he did not have pace. Interestingly, Aaron Smith sets fastest lap in the Mission R, 1 minute 37, as Isidro was off track, so it did not count. So, do you think that Totten has... Never mind. Just as I say that, he loops it again. I was just about to ask if he had the pace to maybe unlap himself, but that'll be a really tall order in about 16 minutes.
Yes, and unless Isidro has an issue, I don't see that it'll happen, but never say never.
As Isidro in the hairpin as we look at the battle, or I thought there was a battle, between Thomas and Johansson, and Martin Mathis in the 14. A couple programming notes here in the Automotive Sports Network. Remember, the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge returns for the 2023A, the 27th season, on February 27th. And the EMSA eWorld Tour Round 2 at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas will be next Sunday, as you'll join Cody Erdmann, Bryan Sawyer, potentially myself, or Chad Irvine for that one. As once again, if it all works out, I want to thank Chad Irvine for helping us out with play-by-play of that race in Austin, Texas. As Johansson and Thomas battling for second in the Mission R class, but Aaron Smith already nearly 5 seconds up the road.
As the battle for P2. His best battle on track right now. I'm not sure what's going on with Broderick Johnson. He's stuck just in the back. I don't know if he's having hardware issues or what's going on. But he's like, I noticed he was like slowing down mid straightaway once, so I'm not. It's kind of weird.
He was one of the fastest cars throughout the street circuit Triple Crown and the eRoval, but just not having pace in the 82 this evening. So hopefully we'll see him back on pace. And Isidro is weaving down the Casino Straight, trying to get tire temp in the 424. And just one of my favorite things is just hot lapping a race car, and that's all he has to worry about. What Dylan Thomas has to worry about is Adrian Johansson all over the rear wing of the 00. As once again they battle for second. This is the closest battle we have on track, about a quarter of a second. So we have to fix our graphics, so apologies for that one. Having some issues, growing pains like we mentioned. Behind the scenes, the whole theme and graphics-wise apparently is a 2 gigabyte file, and that's no joke. So I want to thank Bryan Sawyer once again for all the work that he's done to make our broadcasts look like we know what we're doing. But certainly it's very unstable with the program that we have at hand here. Thomas looks like he hit the wall there, Cody, on exit.
I got pretty close. It was sliding in big time. I wonder if he caught too much of the curb. As Bryan and I had some fun last night trying to figure out the whole new picture-in-picture program we got going on too. So, whole new fun things coming for ASN in 2023.
As Totten went deep on the brakes in the hairpin, trying to recover some time against Isidro. But he's a full lap down, and he's still behind by, I would say, about 5 seconds. So even if he wasn't a lap down, there'd still be a huge gap to make up. But certainly, whether it's the graphics, the picture-in-picture, in 2023, it's going to look excellent. And what's looking excellent right now is Johansson battling Dylan Thomas. And it looks like Johansson powered his way through the inside and then the outside. But then he runs it wide, commentator's curse, as they get really close through turns 8 and 9. As Thomas, peeking at his quarter panel, thought of going down the inside on Johansson. Johansson got spooked and Thomas to the inside. Pushes wide. And this is the battle that we've been waiting for. Just some form of action here, Cody. Johansson going to get the slipstream down the Casino Straight here.
Yeah, as we're going to see who makes the move. Looks like Dylan's trying to block it.
Thomas leaves a little bit of room. Johansson thought better of it. Surprising that he didn't just send it on the outside there through the chicane. And Thomas makes sure that he's well away of the champion's wall on this occasion.
And don't look now, but there's a white, red, and blue car coming.
Where did he come from? We were just talking about him. Roderick Johnson sneaking into the picture as well. This will be a 3-car battle, but unfortunately, this is not for the race lead in the Mission R class.
No, it's... Ooh, deep was Johansson. As now he's feeling the pressure from behind as well. So he's got to play offense and defense.
And Smith running his own little race. He's 13, make it maybe 14 seconds up the road, looks like, unless I've been paying attention to the wrong number. Oh, 14 seconds up the road. As we take a look, our graphics are back. As off monitor on our internal chat, Cody has been asking Bryan 900 times to show this picture-in-picture, so I guess that's what we're going to be doing. As we ride on board, Dylan Thomas in the 00. And in the middle is Johansson. And Roderick Johnson looked to the inside, went to the outside. And Johansson just can't seem to get an advantage on Thomas here.
No, it's just... I think he's trying to make the lunge a little bit too deep, so then he has no drive up off the corner coming out of it.
Into the chicane once again. Johansson really shallow on entry of the corner. Thomas didn't hit the wall, but Johansson sacrificed that first part of the chicane to get a run down to turn 1, but he's still not close enough. Roderick Johnson sneaking into the picture as well, Hops the curb in the 82 as all three of them battling for the second spot as we cross halfway here in this second feature race. Isidro sets fastest lap, but it's too little too late, I think. He still has a huge gap. One car, Dylan Thomas runs it wide, gets passed by both of them. Put him from second to fourth. So Johansson and Johnson, now battling for the second spot.
As, again, right there, Roderick just, had no gas pedal.
As Dylan Thomas, where is he going? Running it wide off the road in the 00. Having some issues in the Porsche Mission R. As we crossed over halfway, Roderick Johnson still trying to fight Johansson for second. As remember, our coverage brought to you by NordVPN. For a premium VPN service, up to 63% off a 2-year plan. Visit asnTVUSA.com and click NordVPN on the sidebar on the left and follow that for more information. Thank you to our friends at NordVPN for helping us out. Roderick Johnson in the way of Isidro nearly. As Isidro on a calm Sunday evening drive in the LMDH. As Totten set fastest lap, but he has lost more time to Isidro in the 424. And unfortunately, that race was ran 3 feet from the start-finish line on the start.
As Aaron Smith also on a Sunday drive.
21 seconds. That gap was 10 seconds 2 laps ago. Seemed crazy like that, at least. But the top two, the winners in each class, or the leaders in each class, in a class of their own, as Aaron Smith on one side of the track, Isidro on another side of the track, as Johansson and Johnson battling for second in Mission R. Once again, the closest battle that we have. Totten from way back into Martin Mathis. I was just flicking through the field. He went way deep on the brakes. That was never going to work. And Totten might be driving over his head in the 28 as we focus on our main feed between Johansson and Johnson. Hopefully we can grab that replay of Totten down the back straightaway. But Johnson slipstreaming Johansson down Casino Straight. Look to the left. Look to driver's right to the inside. It's a tricky spot to make it happen. And Johnson's going to take it. Johansson gives it to him. Johnson runs it wide. Has to cut the track. Missed the sleeping policeman curb. And Johansson pulls away. We take a look on board.
Cam just went way too deep. Oh, and a little bit of contact there.
That was never going to work.
No. Probably should have just tucked him behind and tried to get him out of the chicane there. Ooh,
but that's the nature of multi-class racing, especially when the cars are so different in speed. It's just something you learn, and you learn not to try and pass someone under braking, especially when it's a one. This track, let's be real, as wonderful as this track is, it's pretty one-dimensional, and he had no business trying to make a pass stick there in that corner, especially with the issues that we've seen throughout the evening of easy to lock the brakes.
Yeah, and the LMDHs are super. I would say there's a sweet spot in the braking with the LMDH where if you're not enough, you're gonna and you don't have your sequence down to downshift just right, you're gonna either just blow through the corners we've seen, or you're just going to brake super early, and it's going to stop on a dime for you. Or the other thing is you're going to start locking the tires up, and the back end's going to come around on you. So, there's a really, very much of a sweet spot in this car as these drivers and everyone on the service is trying to learn.
One of the funniest things, as you were saying that you have to make sure that you get your shift patterns right, Isidro blew through the champion chicane on the front straightaway. So he goes by nearly into the fence through turn 5. He goes by Aaron Smith. And once again on paper, it's going to look terrible that everyone got lapped. But as a reminder, the LMDH super fast compared to the Mission Rs. So Aaron Totten climbing his way back through the field. He is going to be back back in second overall, which is nice. If he can get through in the next 4.5 minutes. What could have been for the battle at LMDH?
Yes, and I think we have all now learned that you gotta be a little bit easy on the power until you get up to the next couple of gears, especially on these cold tires. These cold tires, it's an ice skating rink for the first lap and a half.
As once again our battle for second in Mission Rs between Johansson and Johnson. Johnson got a great run off the chicane, down the straightaway to the inside of Johansson. No contact. Johnson's going to run it deep. Johnson passes him. Johansson slipstream down the casino straight. Will he sneak to the inside of Johnson? Down the straightaway to the chicane into the corner. Words are so hard. He misses it. Nearly contact between them. And Johnson holds the spot.
Now we're going to go back through turn 1 and 2.
As we ride on board, Johansson on the right side, as we have our TV on the left. Once again, a huge shout out to Bryan Sawyer making all this happen, along with Cody Erdmann making all this happen. But we have tried so hard to make everything look pretty good, and it's still a work in progress. But 2023 is going to be a great year for the Automotive Sports Network. So glad everyone could be along for the ride. 2.5 minutes left in this first racing evening here in EMSA in the eWorld Tour. And despite the fact that there's only 7 cars, it has still been quite an experience, I'd have to say.
Yeah, it's just kind of like how we did the first couple races when it was just the Porsche Mission Rs. I think we're kind of in a little bit of a learning phase, especially with the LMDH. We got kind of the understanding down of what these Porsche Mission Rs are like. So now we got to learn these brand new LMDH cars, and hopefully throughout the year they may add in a couple more manufacturers. Well, the Porsche and whatever else. I could see the Porsche for sure coming, but Porsche, Cadillac, Lamborghini, Ferrari, it's going to be endless on how many LMDHs are actually out there in the world, and hopefully we can get a couple of them here on the service.
As we'll have a chat with Nicholas Isidro after the race, and also we'll have a chat with Aaron Smith just to hear the thought process between these two drivers. They've pretty much been uncontested, especially with Isidro having his connection issues, so we'll have a chat with them, and then we'll close it up. And first evening in EMSA and for ASN in 2023 will be in the books. So still a minute left. Anything can happen, but Aaron Smith, 28 seconds is the gap, as he will be passed by Totten. Totten tries it again, deep on the brakes for the second time. Doesn't hit anything or anyone, but still such a risky maneuver. I'll be perfectly honest, I shouldn't be getting angry as a commentator. I'm also just really confused over the thought process. Granted, I guess the only saving grace is there's only 7 cars. But it's still very questionable, the moves that are being made.
Well, as we were saying earlier, that it's time to learn as we get the white flag here. This pretty much he's learning just the high rate of speed that it is catching up to these guys, especially in the braking zone. That was like the biggest thing, at least for myself, driving these cars, that like you come up on these cars way quicker than you think, especially in the heavy braking zones. It's a matter of milliseconds that you have the time to react on some of these things. So I think they're still trying to get used to the speed difference, and we'll hopefully these guys kind of are able to calculate their moves a little bit easier when coming through the traffic, and hopefully we'll have some better racing as the year goes on.
As final time into the champion chicane, as Isidro's going to slide it, as he was probably spooked by Thomas. I know I would have been spooked by Thomas. Looked really, really different speed differential, but Isidro redeems himself and wins in Montreal after the disconnect of the first feature, survives the second feature, and wins overall. And we have obviously a little bit of time before Aaron Smith gets to the checkered flag, but what a race. In his first race here at EMSA, in car number 70, ran the Mission R, minded his own business, and it looks like he'll have a couple corners left to go, and he will win in the Mission R. He'll finish third overall, so if this was real life, he would have 2 podium ceremonies that he gets a champagne for, but Aaron Smith wins in the Mission Rs, as Aaron Totten finishes second overall, and in the LMDH class, after the crash on the start, as Broderick Johnson holds off Adrian Johansson, Mathis, and Dylan Thomas. So, interesting first round for EMSA here in 2023, Cody, but like we've mentioned, it's a learning experience for these guys to know what moves they can make and they can't make, and I think... Let's see if we can bring in Isidro here. Will the graphic work for results? It does not. Welcome to ASN, where our graphics are broken. It's nobody's fault but the software, and I'll die on that hill. As Cody, I'll bring in Nicholas Isidro, our winner overall and in LMDH, and all yours.
Hey there, Nicholas, you got us? Hey there, Nick, you got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Congratulations on being the first ever winner of the LMDH class here in EMSA. How much time have you kind of put into this car leading into this race?
Since the Daytona 24 was yesterday, I put quite a bit into the car, but not much on this track. Mostly focusing on Daytona.
Did you happen to run this car at Daytona as well, or?
Yeah, I ran the GTP at Daytona as well.
Did you? Okay, so you kind of had a little bit of an understanding of this car going into this.
Yeah.
A little bit of a difference that we saw that was in a way shocking, but as Josh and I talked out about, was the standing starts. How treacherous, because we saw, unfortunately, Aaron here in the second race, unfortunately, looped it. How treacherous was that standing start and getting the power down safely?
It can be difficult because it's sort of easy to spin the tires in this car if you don't start out properly, and the electric cars have a better acceleration because they're electric. But once you get past that, it's no different than any other start.
Absolutely. Is there anyone you'd like to thank to get you the first win of 2023?
Not really.
At least he's honest. All right, my friend. Well, good run, and we will see you next week in Austin, Texas.
All right.
So you bring in Aaron Smith, our winner in the Mission R class. My friend, your first race, at least I think it's your first race, correct me if I'm wrong, you win in the Porsche class. You were miles ahead of everybody else. Talk me through your race.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what I found there in practice, but the car felt a lot like the stock cars on road courses for whatever reason. Despite everything about the car being completely different, I was able to move the driver, whatever that setting is in the setup booth is I put that towards the rear, and it handled really well around the corners. Unfortunately, that was able to push me to the front here tonight.
As what was your thought? I guess the thought of the first laps on both races when we had the LMDHs either crash together or like Aaron Totten, it was behind you in the second one, but that first corner of the second feature when everyone was all over the place, what was your thought process on that?
Yeah, I wanted to avoid that giant wad of cars coming up through the inside there, because I think at least one car missed the first corner in both races, and I wanted to make sure I didn't get hit by them coming across the grass there. But got tapped just a little bit in the left or the right quarter panel there in the second race, but fortunately we were able to save it and run away with it.
As Cody, you got anything for our Mission R race winner this evening?
First off, congratulations on coming into this new series and putting on an absolute clinic. As I think you and Isidro were all in your own zip codes. Have you done a lot of driving with this car coming into this, or just?
Oh, no, these were my first 2 races. I turned a couple laps in the practice sessions that they hosted earlier this week, but this is my my first time running it in a race atmosphere, so it was fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next this season.
Sounds good. Well, hopefully we'll be able to talk to you a few more times throughout the year.
All right, thank you.
As final thoughts of our first multi-class race here in EMSA?
Like I said in the beginning, even though we did have a smaller car count, we did have some pretty exciting moments. That battle there at the end was absolutely cracking, as we had 3 drivers trying to take over the second spot of the podium. We saw the outcome of that, so we'll kind of go on. LMDH, honestly, I think will be exciting once we do get more cars and I think a little bit more understanding of these cars. As that new car came out, everyone's focus was on Daytona for the last month and a half, essentially. So now that it's kind of focuses on just racing the car at all these different tracks, I think it'll be good practice for everyone coming up into the next few following rounds. So hopefully as the series and the car count grows, we'll have some even more fun action-packed racing as the year goes on.
As a programming note for the Automotive Sports Network, next week, the EMSA Service Experts eWorld Tour will have the second round of this championship next week, as it'll be Cody, Erdmann, Bryan, Sawyer, potentially myself, or Chad Irvine, friend of the Automotive Sports Network. We'll determine through the week. Be leading the show, as I don't entirely know if I will be able to, as I'll be on vacation in Colorado. As remember, the series is brought to you by the Service Experts HVAC. Get worry-free comfort at 1 low monthly payment. For more information, visit serviceexperts.com. And don't forget to check out our friends at NordVPN, the ultimate solution for online privacy and security. With NordVPN, you can surf the web freely and securely, knowing your personal info and activity are protected by military-grade encryption. You'll have 60 countries that have servers, so you can access content whenever and wherever you would like, and a no-logs policy to make sure that your content is private. An easy interface to pick said server wherever you would like, so you can browse, stream, and download with complete peace of mind. For up to 63% off a 2-year plan, visit asnTVUSA.com and click on NordVPN on the left-hand side. From all of us at the Automotive Sports Network, Bryan Sawyer, Cody Erdmann, Phil Kraus, my name is Josh Mertz. Had a little bit of growing pains this evening, but we hope you enjoyed today's coverage of the EMSA Service Experts eWorld Tour from Montreal. For more information on ASN, visit asnTVUSA.com. Hope to see you next week in Austin, Texas. But until then, so long, everyone.